Hey everybody, Anthony 4x4 Diesel. You probably know by now, this is my favourite Prado 2008 120, and this is my other favourite Prado 2022 150 with a 1GD engine. Well, not so favourite overall. Anyway, while it's in here, we've got the 70,000 kilometre service happening. For the first time, I haven't done it exactly on, and it's on 69,777. Now, what this video is primarily going to be about is if you couldn't buy a Prado, what's the next best choice? Okay, so if there was no Prado, whether it's a 120, 150, the new thing, whatever they want to call it, with a strap-on hybrid, if you couldn't buy a Prado, what would be my next choice? But of course, like all the other videos, we do go off topic and there's a whole heap of other information included. For example, we've just had the automatic transmission software update done on this vehicle a couple of weeks ago, and I'll just quickly give you some feedback on that. What I love about this vehicle is it's a Prado, it's a 150, they're just great vehicles. The setup on this vehicle is absolutely awesome. I'm really happy with the setup, and the engine's okay, but you know, let's not waste too much time on that. We'll save that for another video. I'm not excited about the engine response. Now, transmission software update, what happens? So when you start it up in the morning, particularly when it was cold, but not only when it was cold, randomly on and off throughout the last year and a half, you put it in drive and it gives you a big thud, thumps into drive sort of thing. So software issue there, took it in, they finally had an update, took it in, got that done, resolved that issue 100%, but now we've got a few other issues with the transmission. Exactly right. So what happens now is when you start it up cold, no worries, let it warm up for a couple of minutes, put it in drive, you drive out your driveway, and as it goes for second gear, it leans off and you nearly go through the windscreen. That's the first problem. So it sort of goes, and you just really go, you really feel it, you know, you really go forward. So it's smooth, but it just backs the power off for that smooth change. So whatever they've done, they've kind of mucked it up, right? Because the 1KD and the 5-speed just doesn't do that. I'm really happy with the 1KDs and the 5-speed autos. They're just awesome. And they do have a few variations in the software and some different things throughout the models as well, although it's the same transmission. So what else does it do? It hangs on in fourth more, so it really, like one of the problems that the 1KDs have with the 5-speed, sometimes they can really hang on in third going uphill because of the steepness of the hill, and it just doesn't want to change gears, which is fair enough. But this didn't used to do that, and now it does that in fourth. So you just, and it kicks down a fourth easier than it did before. So there's a few other changes have happened as well. A bit disappointing, not ideal really. Okay, so let's get to the point. If I had to buy a new vehicle now, and you couldn't get a Prado, there could be a couple of points in this video, or maybe another separate video. So the first one is, if I couldn't buy a Prado, what would I buy in the Toyota range for touring Australia? The answer would be a 300 series. I don't know if I'd get a GX, a GXL, a GR Sport, which looks nice, seems like the obvious option, but they are $150,000. It's a lot of money for a car. It's just a car still. That Prado over there, you know, you pay about, the one in 2019 I paid 55, and in 2022 I paid 60. It's a lot less money. I don't see three cars for the money. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's just a stupid, completely stupid waste of money, even if you've got it. I've got it, I can do it, but I just think it's a complete waste of money. So I believe you can get a GX 300 series for about 100 grand. And I think that's a lot better vehicle, value for money, setup, what you're going to get in a V6 with twin turbos and all of that, than some 2.8 litre strap-on hybrid diesel thing, right? So I suppose there's a comparison right there, right? I don't know how much the new Prado is going to be. I'll guess it's going to be around that sort of money. So I think they've just put themselves out of the market, really. You might get a GXL for 100 grand, but I just reckon spend your 100 grand on a GX 300. So that's something to think about. If we couldn't buy Toyotas, what would you buy? That's a good question. So there's no Toyota. We've got to take Toyota out of the equation. No Toyotas. What would you buy? Well, what comes to mind is two vehicles. One's a petrol, one's a diesel. Everybody have a think. Do you know what I'm thinking? Do you think you know what I'm thinking? So there's one, it's a diesel. It would be a 4-cylinder diesel. Yes, it would be a 3-litre diesel. That's one vehicle option. The other option, you'd be spending more money. would be the V8 petrol option, made in Japan, right? So they're the two vehicles. A lot of people already know what I'm thinking. So if you couldn't buy a Toyota, right? And I still think buying Toyotas is the best option, although it's getting less, how do I say it? With all the newer technology, I'm not a fan of the, like a diesel hybrid at all whatsoever. I will not be buying one, okay? Won't be happening. Like, I don't like the 1GD. I'm not a big fan, let's just say. But I'll have one I'm going to have one to get to know the vehicles. You get to know them much better when you own and drive and use them as well as work on them. But I won't be buying any diesel hybrid engines, okay? So I'll be waiting for petrol hybrid, other options, or just sticking with all the old options. Maybe the 300 series diesel will be the last plain Jane simple diesel. Plenty of power, plenty of torque, and the GX at 100 grand. I think much better value for money than a new Prado with all that crap, let's say. Okay, so the other vehicles, if you couldn't buy Toyotas, you'd be looking at the Isuzu range. I was thinking MUX. Now, mechanically, I think, they're really good. So the engine, the fuel system, the transmission, it's the same 6-speed as what's in the Prado, as far as I know. I'm not a specialist on those, but from what I know, the driveline, the diffs and everything, there's a lot of A's and stuff there. So that's why the driveline's very good, because it's almost like a Toyota. In some ways, it could be even better. I don't hear of any issues going on with the driveline. They're just a cheaper built car. So as far as, the build of the rest of the vehicle is a bit cheap tin canny kind of thing. Now, don't get me wrong, they're good cars. Still going to be better than a lot of other options out there. I've chosen this as my second option, so don't make it sound like I'm trying to bag it out, but it is, the Isuzus have always been a cheaper made. Everything's a bit lower quality on the interior and the body work, that sort of thing, right? So that being said, I haven't looked at them for over 5 years, so I wouldn't really know. But Isuzu, whether it's an MUX or a little bit older MUX or a D-Max, they would be the vehicles that I'm looking for in the dual cab ute. If I couldn't buy a Toyota and I wanted a diesel and that sort of options, they're going to be the cheaper end of the scale. Now, my understanding on the Patrol, if you're going to get a Patrol, you might as well get the TI, and I think it's about 100 grand these days, even though I reckon they're worth about 70. But so that's in the ballpark with the 300 series GX. That's going to be around about what I think a Prado GXL is going to be when they come out. I've got no insight to this. I'm just taking a wild guess. So if you couldn't buy a Toyota, the Patrol's an obvious option because it's a simple petrol engine. It's been around now for a long time. I'm not going to go into whose engine it really is and all that sort of thing. I'm not the expert on it. I could get something wrong, but it's a V8 petrol engine. The vehicle's built in Japan, so that's a positive. I like stuff that's built in Japan, as long as it's not Mitsubishi, you know what I mean? As long as it's not that one, because they are just pieces of junk, always have been. Not going there. Sorry if you got a Mitsubishi. But yeah, they're the vehicles, right? If you couldn't get a Toyota. So, something to think about. I don't care what you buy. I don't care if you sell your 1KD and you buy a 1GD or a strap-on diesel hybrid or a Patrol or an Isuzu, whatever, because I consider it. I think about it. I go, wow, should I get a D-Max? Should I sell the Hilux and get a D-Max just to be different? You know what I mean? Just to, and there's not going to be any issue with either of them. The way I think of it is the Hilux does the job. Why invest tens of thousands of dollars more, because I can? No, just because you got the money doesn't mean you need to waste it, right? So I've got a Hilux there that's worth, let's put a number on it, let's just say 20 grand. It's probably more or less, whatever, probably more, but just being modest. You can go buy a D-Max. Do you know how much a new D-Max is? Probably 60, 70 grand, wouldn't it be? Something like that, right? So you're going to put an extra $50,000 to go buy the new vehicle, right? So you're going to pay more insurance. You're going to worry more when you take it off road. You're going to worry more when you park it at the shopping centre. Someone's got to put a trolley into it, or they can't park in there. Do you know what I mean? When you got the old car, you just don't care. Do you really need a shiny new one? Whatever, just keep the old car. Anyway, that's the D-Max side of things. Same thing with the Patrol. Okay, if you do a lot, if you're having early retirement at the age 50 and you want to tow a caravan around Australia, or you're going to do some touring for quite a few years, towing a caravan around, a big car, and a big comfortable car and a big V8 engine would be great for towing that caravan. And because you're retired early, you've got plenty of money, you can pay the fuel bill. I think that's probably a more suitable vehicle. Massive big cabin in the Patrols. Last time I sat in one, I thought, this is just massive. This is like gold class at the cinemas. So that's something to consider. And like I said, the 300 series, I sat in one not long ago, And, you know, to me, it's just another Toyota, whether it's like a new Hilux or a Prado, they're all very similar. Just how much money do you want to spend? And I just think the GX gets you the, you know, V6 twin turbo engine, does the towing job. It hasn't got any of this hybrid sort of stuff. So maybe that's where you want to go. And for all the wise people, you know what, I've got 3 of these, so I always keep those for the backup. I always have new cars coming and going. Like I said, they'll come and go. If I buy a 300 series, it'll come, it'll go. If I buy a Patrol, it'll come and go. And so would the MUX or the D-Max or whatever happens. But I can't really see the D-Max or anything like that happening, or the MUX, to be honest. That's if you wanted to chase down that diesel road for whatever reason. I still think putting in the amount of money on any of those vehicles isn't really worth it, especially when you get to know these so well. You can save a lot of running costs as well, doing your own servicing. We've got the parts kits available. We've got engines available. We've got the backup plan, the crack piston fund. So even if worst case scenario, because you know the whole rest of the vehicle is so reliable, and even the engine is 99.99999, but for that 0.01%, because you picked it up with 200,000 or 300,000 Ks, they're getting old now. You can't get them new anymore. They're minimum 10 years old now to buy a car with a 1KD. Minimum 10 years old. You hear what I'm saying? Years ago, people just wanted to get rid of, oh, it's getting a bit long in the tooth. Anyway, good cheap car. That's my opinion on what I'd buy if I couldn't get a Prado, and also if I couldn't buy anything from the Toyota range. Bada bing, bada boom. Catch on the next video if you're subscribed and with a bell on, and hit the like button if you made it to the end. Catch ya.